दर्पण दृश्यमान नगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स् 21 यस्मिन् यस्मिन्नस्ति लोके बोधस्तत्तदुपेक्षणे यद्बोधमात्रं तद्ब्रह्म इत्येवं धी ब्रह्मनिश्चयः. So yesterday we were discussing that every cognition, every experience involves two things. Like an experience of a hand, you may feel that you are just experiencing hand only, means there is an object of experience is only hand, but actually there are two things involved, and one is a non-changing factor. There are two things you are experiencing in the experience of hand. One is a light, another is a hand, and that in that of course the light is because of which only you are able to experience the hand, and that light remains a common factor in fact, whether you experience a hand or whether you experience a mobile, but light is a common factor. But we never take into account. Same way here also, in every cognition, pratibodha viditam matam, in every bodha, in every cognition, actually the consciousness is present, because of which only we are able to experience any particular object. So whether it is a part experience, or let's say part knowledge, or let's say part consciousness, or a mobile consciousness, or a book consciousness, or a click consciousness, consciousness is present and it is ever experienced. Or other than that, object of the objects keep changing, and the thought also keep changing. That's how perception or cognition also keeps changing. But in all the cognitions, out of all the four things, the consciousness is a common factor. What are four things? Object, thought, perception or cognition, and consciousness. So three things are constantly changing. But object changes, so that the thought also changes, and therefore perception also changes, but the consciousness, the fourth factor, is a common factor. And so tattad upekshane, so you have to ignore the other three factors which are changing, which are coming and going. What comes and goes don't depend upon that. So that's not that is called mithya, which comes and goes, which won't be there permanently with you. So tattad upekshane, better ignore them, and this consciousness which is an invariable factor, which is nothing but the I, that is satyam. So and of course, and you cannot separate them physically. Let me separate the object, because you are saying Swamiji it is mithya. So let me separate it now permanently. So I will remain in a pure form, and therefore I will not have to I will not have to ignore etc. Also in every cognition I have to ignore. Let me separate it permanently, thought or object etc. That is not possible. So their physical separation is not possible, because consciousness is Brahman, which is all pervading. So whatever cognition takes place is going to be non-separate from Brahman. That is you, the consciousness, and that is it is satyam, so paramarthikam, and which are non-separate, that perception etc., the thought or object etc., they are all vyavaharikam, and so they are always, their reality is such that you should not separate. What is mithya, what is vyavaharikam, why should you bother about? What is just an appearance, why should you bother about? We never bother in our life. What is just an appearance? Once you know that it is appearance, then you don't bother. Like in a roof, you have a rope, and while going and coming in the evening from the office, going in the morning, but coming from the office, you see in the roof, because whenever you come, it's 7 o'clock or 7:30, and it's a twilight, and so that rope always, every day, it appears to you as a snake, but you know it is a rope and it appears as a snake. Then you don't bother to remove that snake, because it's an appearance. You don't bother, let it be there. In fact, you are enjoying sometime that how a rope looks like a snake, etc. Same way, say entire this prapancha, which is the object or a thought or everything, they are just appearance on this consciousness which is all pervading, which is satyam, which is adhishthanam of all this. Well, this vyavaharik prapancha cannot make any botheration. Just as a vyavaharik screen, vyavaharik, that movie, etc., is or let's say other way. Like we should not say pratibhasika. So let's just say vyavaharik screen is ever separate from pratibhasika movie, etc. So let the movie continue. In fact, you want movie to be continued, etc. And so, same way, I am ever shuddham, nitya shuddha buddha mukta sabhavaha, aham asmi. And so, and therefore, I ever, nitya buddha, I am ever consciousness, nitya mukta, I am ever free. Then why should you bother? Nothing is going to make you a bound or a limited person. Nothing is going to affect you. You are asangaha. And so there is question, when will be I mukta? Well, that you should not answer such question. You should ask a counter question. What? When am I not mukta? That is what it is. When am I not mukta? So everyone is basically free. All the time free. Nitya mukta. So ever free. And so that is my nature. And therefore let the things appear due to Maya, whatever things, let them appear. No, don't bother. Just ascertain one thing from the Shastra and the teacher, that all this is his appearance. That's all it will require. And therefore that is called removal of ignorance. When you ascertain that all this is mithya, that means the ignorance has gone. Because ignorance basically creates a notion that this is satyam. I told you yesterday, I have given you the dream example also, that on a waker, there is when waker is covered with the ignorance, and then all names and forms are created. Entire world, dream world is created. At the same time, the reality in the dream world also is created. And therefore, the ignorance goes away. So then you know that the dream world was there, but it was just an appearance. So let it be there. Nothing to bother about. So that is how it is. So next day another dream comes. Third day another dream comes. You know it is just an appearance. So therefore, due to ignorance. So when ignorance means you wake up and ignorance goes away, then the satyatvam of the dream world goes away. Satyatvam in the dream world goes away. Same way here. So only ascertaining the fact that this is mithya, that is called the removal of ignorance, etc. Anyway, so I am ever muktaha. So there is no question when I am not muktaha. So at the end of everything, people do namaskara, and they say, well, will you yourself come as a guru in the next janma or not? This is the height of the thing. In fact, there is one shloka, and in which he praises his own guru, Shankaracharya ji, and do namaskar, and says, he prays to the Lord, he requests to the Lord. What? May Shankaracharya may Shankaracharya be a guru in the next life. Is it a praise or it's a criticism of a guru? We should really think of that. Means guru is something who could not remove your ignorance. That's how you are going to take birth, and you are calling him also again for teaching. So in every birth you want a guru. That shows that your ignorance has not removed. So you are not praising in fact guru, because guru was not capable of removing your ignorance. Anyway, so we should be very careful while praising something. Whether it's a praise or criticism of the person, we should very, very well understand it. Anyway, so yad bodhamatram tad brahma iti evam dhihi, yad bodhamatram, which is just a pure consciousness, nothing else. Nothing else. When the reality goes away, then this whole thing becomes pure consciousness. This becomes Brahman. Yeah, this is how it is. This becomes Brahman. Sarvam Brahman. Or idam sarvam Brahma. Right? So idam is all this which is perceptible. All the names and forms, they remain just appearance. But they are there. They will remain. Being mithya, they will remain. And therefore, that's how you have to use this word idam sarvam. Idam sarvam stands for all the names and forms which have loose now substantiality, tangibility, loose the reality, and well, everything. Then there must be something else which is the reality of that. And that reality is me, the consciousness. Iti evam dhihi, this understanding, and we have to pay the attention when in a different experiences we have to pay attention to this tangible thing, real thing, that is the Brahman, bodha matram, well, and that kind of a clear Brahma Jnanam is Brahma Nishchaya. Nishchaya means ascertaining that, well, everything is just Brahman. Other than that, whatever is there, that is all names and forms which are perceptible, is mithya. Let's go to verse 22. Panchakosha parityage sakshi bodha vaseshatah swasarupam saeva syat shunyatvam tasya durghatam. Panchakosha parityage sati, it's a sati saptami. So locative absolute. Parityage, rame. So when panchakoshas are negated, whenever sati saptami comes or locative absolute, you have to put, where. That's all. Strishu dushashu satsu jayate varna sankara. In first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Strishu dushtasu satsu. Satsu is not there. Bhagavan has used just strishu dushtasu. So strishu dushtasu means when these women will be polluted, etc. Well, then jayate varna sankara. Varna sankara is born, etc. Anyway, so when panchakoshas are negated as anatma, Brahman as Sakshi remains, which is the very mind, which is the nature of myself. Sakshi bodha, witness conscious. When you use word witness, definitely you will come into the picture. You cannot say this is a Sakshi. Sakshi can never be available like that. Sakshi means a subject, the witness. Witness and therefore, well, witness of everything. And you can you get a designation of a witness if you are conscious. Otherwise, how will you get a designation of a Sakshi? You cannot be a witness unless you are consciousness. And so Sakshi Bodha means witness consciousness. And then, but what is witnessed? Panchakosha. So this Panchakosha is the 5 sheets, etc. And that, so they are negated. Negated as means, they are negated as anatma, means they are understood. Whenever I use the word negation, please immediately put mithyatva nishchaya. Well, so when they are negated, means when they are ascertained as a mithya, then this witness consciousness will remain as unnegatable residue. And for that, Vidyaranya has used a word avasheshataha. Avasheshataha means adhishthanam or unnegatable residue. So you can't negate the consciousness. That's if you say, this is a thing. Well, if you say that I am able to negate consciousness, please tell me when you have negated the consciousness. How do you know consciousness is negated? How do you know? Oh, I have negated consciousness and now it is absent. To say that also you require consciousness. Okay, and therefore consciousness is a negator which cannot be negated. Which cannot be negated. So consciousness is an unnegatable negator. Unnegatable negator. Okay? So this is avasheshataha nisheda avadhi rupena parishishyate. That remains as a Sakshi. Okay, if Sakshi remains, then how come I don't see that? Again, that problem. Vidyaranya says, Saeva swaswarupam. Well, that adhishthanam is my real nature. That is myself. So like, this is my name. I mean, whatever you say in your visiting card or what is that, I-card or whatever, that is all negatable part. What is not negated, well, that is not mentioned in the visiting card. And we'll be discussing this. After negating everything, you should tell Sakshi remains. No, we won't tell you that also. We won't tell you. Why? I will give you the reason for that. So, tasya shunyatvam durghatam. So, dukkhena ghatam. Yasya. Saha durghatam. It is pradi bahuri. Ghatam means ghatanam. Possibility. Means, well, dukkhena ghatanam. So, there is a possibility, rare possibility. I mean, it is, so durghatam means illogical. So, tasya shunyatvam durghatam. It's not possible at all. What? Tasya atmanaha brahmanaha, that Brahman is shunyam, is durghatam, is illogical. We cannot say that never look upon Brahman as a shunyam, because it is right there, negating everything, which is an unnegatable thing, and therefore it is right there. And therefore, see, Vidyaranya is negating this nihilist Buddhist, our Shunyavadis. Deham pranam apindriyan pichalam buddhincha shunyam viduhu stribalanda jadopamastvhamiti branta vrishambadinah, etc. In Dakshinamurti Stotram also, this has come. Shunyam viduhu. These people are, Acharya says this, some people are dehatmavadi, some people are pranatmavadi, some people are indriyatmavadi, some people are shunyavadi, etc. etc. Deham pranam apindriyanyapi chalam buddhim, chalam buddhim, kshanika buddhi. Actually means kshanikatva. Atma is kshanika. Kshanik Vijnani also is a part of our Buddhist only. Anyway, so, okay, then I understand. But then why do you tend to tell us that it is shunyam? You are slowly going in that direction. You are negating, of course. But then you are tend to tell as shunyatvam. So, whenever I can't objectify, it looks it is not there. That's how it is. So, extending that Brahman is also not objectifiable, because it is just a subject. So, even though we use word shunyam, anyway, the big discussion is coming. Even though we use word shunyam, you should not understand shunyam as a shunyam, total non-existent. Well, but what sakshi, which cannot be objectifiable, well, so you will not be able to objectify, and therefore if you feel that it is not there, but it is right there to negate everything. So durghatam means, defining Brahman as a shunyam for you, shunyavadis, where it is illogical. So like you remember the example that nobody has come, I told you the example when a lot of rain was there, and so then the Panchadashi class and all that, I made a story, right? Not made a story, it was a real thing. It happened in Ahmedabad. And then I asked that person who was residing nearby that class. So I said, you went there and you go there and please check who has come, or anybody has come, then I would really try to come to the class. And well, he said nobody has come. He reached to the class in the middle of the class, the classroom. He stands and says, well, that nobody has come. Means nobody other than that person has come actually. So if nobody has come, there will be nobody to say that nobody has come. Please understand this. If nobody has come, there will be nobody to say that nobody has come. But if there is somebody to say nobody has come, means there is nobody except that somebody. Okay? Swamiji, this is all jugglery of the words. No, it's not jugglery. I will repeat it. See, nobody other than me has come. We should understand that. He says nobody has come. Means nobody other than me has come. Then what? If nobody has come, really nobody has come, means total non-existent, shunyam, then there will be nobody to say nobody has come. Right? Correct? And if there is somebody to say that nobody has come, means there is nobody except that somebody. And similarly, when you say in meditation that, well, I come to the blankness now. There is blankness, Swamiji. And there is nothing now. Well, there is a illumining principle which illumines the absence of everything. So there is really no shunyam. Even we negate everything in this creation. Neti, 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 neti. That's correct. After negating, well, the very negator, the witness, must be there to negate all of these things. Otherwise, from dictionary we will have to remove this word. The word non-existence has to be removed. Why? Because nobody will understand what is this non-existence, because nobody has experienced non-existence. Non-existence means he himself will not be there, but that person, conscious being, will remain to say non-existence. And therefore we have a word called non-existence or nobody, etc., whatever. So because of the experience of a non-existence or a nobody or whatever, shunyatvam, and therefore we are able to include the word shunyam, etc., in our dictionary. So please understand that sakshi will be always there to experience that non-existence, and so that sakshi cannot be negated at all. That's what it is told here, avasheshataha. It's a unnegatable residue that will always remain. Why Shastra remains silent about that sakshi? That there is a reason for that. Anyway, so that negatable part of I, which is negative, negatable part of I, like body, etc., which we are negating. So that is not a real I. Non-negatable part is only real I. That is the Atma. All these panchakoshas basically are negated. Annamaya is not available after waking state. Part of Manomaya also is not available after waking state. Part of Manomaya is available in a dream state, and Vijnanamaya also is not available in dream. Vijnanamaya in fact is not available after waking state. Vijnanamaya is not available in dream state. If Vijnanamaya is there, you will not see some funny things in the dream. Vijnanamaya means intelligence, intellect, buddhi, which is a deciding faculty, which will tell, there cannot be an elephant with a six tail, etc., etc., and 5 trunks, etc. Well, so immediately intellect will interfere, but it is not there. So just you have a fences. A part of the mind is there, and anyway, so part of Manomaya is there, and then in sleep all these koshas resolve. So all 4 are non-available. So yad badhyam tad mithya, basically that is not my real nature. So of course in a waking state I used to include all these koshas within me, as a me actually, not within me, but as a me, as I. But I should know that I am able to negate it in other states of experiences, and therefore they are coming and going like this, and they are mithya, and therefore they are negated. Understanding mithya is a negation. And so, yad vyavicharat sarupam tat na vastavam sarupam. Well, yad vyavicharat sarupam, what is available, what is constantly changing, and that's not my real nature. What is available after negating, and which cannot be negated, or which is available in all the 3 states of experiences. Well, that is my real sarupam. Vastavam sarupam is that is my real sarupam. Vidyaranya says, Sakshi bodha avasheshatah saeva swasarupam syat. Well, Sakshi bodha avasheshatah, this witness consciousness which remains after negating everything, saeva, that alone is swasarupam, that alone is my real nature. So, this is how, and then Vidyaranya says, Shunyatvam tasya durgatam, and well, definitely, even though that Sakshi, witness consciousness, is not objectifiable, well, but that non-experience does not mean it is non-existent, and therefore ascertaining this shunyatvam, here ascertaining shunyatvam of everything is possible because of the sakshi, and shunyatvam of sakshi is illogical. So dukkhe tasya shunyatvam, tasya means the sakshinaha, the shunyatvam of the sakshi is illogical. You should not say there is nothing. Nothing is nothing. Totally absence. That is not possible. And Vidyaranya explains now this in a following verse. What he explains? I can't be shunya. Well, I, the sakshi, witness consciousness is there, because of which only all negations are possible, and I am the negatable residue. Well, and so therefore I can't be the Shunyam, I can't be the non-existent thing. And that is how he Shunyavada Nirasa is now doing from verse number 23. Let's go to verse 23. Astitavat swayam nama vivada vishayatvatah swasminnapi vivadaschet prativadyatra ko bhavet. Vidyaranya says we can have a debate with regard to everything in the creation, but we can't have a debate for one thing. Debate for one thing is just not possible. Whether, what is that thing? Whether the argumentator, debater exists or not, you can't have any debate. You can't have a debate on the existence or a non-existence of a debater. Definitely, you cannot have that kind of a debate. The debater exists or not. That kind of a debate will never be possible. So debate regarding one subject is not possible. And what is that subject? What is that subject matter regarding which no debate? Debater, argumentator, etc. So suppose we have such a debate, whether a argumentator or a debater exists or not. To have a debate, at least we require two groups, right? One is called Vadi, other is called Prativadi, opposition party, Republicans and Democrats, like that. So Vadi makes a statement and Prativadi is one. What is Prativadi? The definition of Prativadi, who has no other qualification but to oppose the Vadi. That's all. That is his qualification. In India especially, I don't know about here what is going on in Congress and Senate and whatever. But in India, opposition party has only one agenda. Whatever government does, whatever ruling party does, they have to oppose. They don't have any other qualification. So Vadi and Prativadi both are required, at least in argumentation, in a debate, etc. Anyway, now what is debate here? Well, Vadi says, I the argumentator exist. And Prativadi says, well, I the argumentator or debater do not exist. He claims like that. Imagine that Prativadi says, I the debater do not exist. So you can have a debate with regard to everything else, but never with regard to this, debater. There cannot be any debate on this. Anyway, but this Shunyavadi, he wants to prove that even he does not exist. Nothing else exists. Sarvam Shunyam Shunyam. Sarvam Kshanikam Kshanikam is one. Well, and then Sarvam Shunyam Shunyam. Anyway, Shunyavadi is a very funny fellow. And he says, I am non-existent person. I, the debater, does not exist at all. How can there be a debate with a non-existent person? Please tell me. How can there be? Debate means two people are required, Vadi and Prativadi. Prativadi says, I don't exist at all. Then how debate is going to take place? So, Asti Tavat Swayam Nama, in whole creation, there is one thing not available for debate. So here Nama, it's an indeclinable word. And that is, when you find this word Nama in any shloka or anywhere, you should immediately understand that whatever the meaning of sentence, whatever the subject matter, is very prasiddham, very, very, very popular, very prasiddham, but it is everyone knows. So, Asti Tavat Swayam Nama, I am existent, is actually prasiddham. It does not require Vada. So, Swayam Nama Swayam means myself. Asti Tavat Nama, I exist, it is prasiddham, right? And therefore, it doesn't require actually Vada. So, even to entertain that doubt, well, I should be existent as a doubter. To exist, to have a doubt that whether I exist or not requires an existence of the doubter. So, well, how can this funny fellow, our Shunyavadi, says, well, I also do not exist, as a debater also. Anyway, doubter existence can't be doubted. The existence of the doubter can never be doubted. Swayam here is a first person singular, so means oneself. How do I conclude that? Well, I conclude existence of the subject even before the entering into the debate. So that is proved before argument. So vivada avishayatvatah, they give a reason. Well, asti tavat swayam nama then says vivada avishayatvatah, subject I is beyond the range of debate. Vivada means debate. Avishayatvatah. Avishayatvatah means there is no, I mean it is never, that cannot be within the range of a discussion or a debate. What? Oneself, the very debater, the one who is going to do the discussion, or one is going to enter into the debate. Well, for his existence is never doubted. So subject I, which is beyond the range of a debate, that I is always self-proven, right? So on the other hand, if person says, well, that it is subject to debate, then what is the consequence? He is said by Vidyaranya in the second line. Swasmin api vivadaschet. First line said, well, there cannot be any doubt, there cannot be any argument with respect to the very doubter or argumentator, with respect to the existence of the very debater. There cannot be. It is prasiddham that I exist even before I enter into a argument, or even to entertain a doubt whether I exist or not. Well, I require to be there, right? And therefore it is prasiddham. But anyway, still if somebody says, no, it is subject to debate whether I exist or not, well, then what will be the consequence? He says in the second line, Swasmin api vivadaschet. Well, Shunyavadi comes and argues that self, I am non-existent. Atra kaha prativadi bhavet. Swasmin api vivadaschet, with respect to oneself. Swasmin here is a Vishaya Saptami. So with regards to oneself, with respect to oneself, or in case of oneself, if there is a vivada, if there is a doubt, well, atra kaha prativadi bhavet. Atra means in this vivada, who is going to be the opponent? Because both are there, Vadi and Prativadi. Vadi says, well, there was a doubt whether I exist or not. Vadi says, I exist. Prativadi says, I don't exist. Well, if you say that you don't exist, how then Vivada is going to take place? How the Vada is going to take place? Well, how this argument or debate is going to take place? Because you are saying you don't exist. If you don't exist, well, I am going to win the debate without I am going to win the debate because you are not there. Therefore, I am going to win the debate without any kind of argument itself. So, atra kaha prativadi bhavet. For me, there is no prativadi, there is no opponent at all. So, I say that the argumentator exists, and prativadi says I argument do not exist. Well, Vadi do namaskara for his satisfaction, and because he has won the debate. You know, this happens in tennis, etc. This always happens when they are basically that competition is going on, and suppose there is a semi-final, and the opponent gets some sprained ankle or something, or so. Well, the other one, without even hitting a single shot, the other person has, since the prativadi, the opponent has withdrawn because of some injury or something. Well, other person has automatically entered into final from semi-final. It has happened in tennis. Once before few years, it happened that that person got injury while just playing, doing service itself, and then he has to withdraw, and when he has withdrawn, and then the other person, well, definitely he has won that match. He has entered into the final without hitting even a ball. Same way here. So, Vadi and Prativadi. Vadi says, I exist as a debater. Well, he says, I don't exist. Prativadi says, okay. Means if you don't exist, well, I have won the whole debate because you are not there to definitely oppose anything or to do argument or debate, etc. Anyway, this is a very funny thing, right? Very funny. You may feel it is funny, I tell you. But this doubt is there. Now, if you go further, you will find. Regarding yourself, you may not have doubt. But regarding Ishvara, you have doubt. Regarding you are Brahman or not, you have still doubt. And you are Brahman, in fact. And therefore, if you doubt an existence of Brahman, means you are doubting existence of yourself. And then that makes sense to you. regarding this, it may not make sense to you. What is this, Swamiji? I exist. Oh, you exist means Brahman exists. Do you know that? Oh, so that means, oh, that is all right. So if you say, well, you are Brahman, and if you doubt an existence of Brahman or Parmeshwara, that in this world there are people who are having a doubt about Ishvara. Most of the people are Nastikas, atheist. Anyway, so basically, you exist means Brahman exists, because you are Brahman. And then if you doubt the existence of yourself, you are doubting existence of Brahman. If you doubt existence of Brahman, means you are doubting existence of yourself. And how funny it is, you can understand now. Anyway, let's go to verse 24. Swasatvam tu na kasmaichite rochate vibramam vina ataeva shrutir badham brute cha sattvavadinah. Now in verse 24, in the first line, first word, swasattva, it is there. It may be a printing mistake. We have to put a dot on verb. So swasattvam it should be. Means swasattvam basically. So Vidyaranya says, well, it is a universal fact that nobody makes a statement that I am non-existent. So asattvam, non-existence of oneself, kasmaichit na rochate. So it is not acceptable to anyone. This kind of a statement no one likes. What? That I do not exist. Then Vidyaranya says, under same condition, well, some people say I am non-existent when they are in a, still, some people say that, well, I am non-existent. Then we have to understand, well, that they are in a mental hospital. That person is not thinking and saying. So, vibramam vina means without delusion or madness, nobody will accept a proposal. What? That I am not existent, I am non-existent. But you should know that I is Brahman. So whoever says, well, Brahman is non-existent, is negating oneself. So negation of oneself is madness. Therefore, negation of Brahman also is a madness. This is what it is. Negation of oneself, you think it is a madness. Well, we say that negation of Brahman also is a madness, because I and Brahman is one thing. That is what Upanishad says. And that is what the fact is. Ataeva Shrutihi Badham Brute. Shruti criticizes these people who talk about the non-existence of Brahman. And where this negation of the Shruti statement comes, we'll see. So, negation of Brahman is a negation of oneself, and that is equal to madness, equivalent to madness. So, equivalent to madness is what? I don't exist. Anyone who says, definitely a mad person will tell. He may utter anything. Remaining in a mental hospital itself, he may shout like that, I don't exist, like that. But actually, Shruti says, we are actually, criticizing the people who are saying Brahman is non-existent. Hey, how can you say that? How can you call a mad people if I say that Ishvara does not exist? How can you say like that? Ishvara does not exist. If you say Ishvara exists, you are mad. Where is Ishvara? Show me. In fact, non-existent thing you are telling us as that you believe it in existence of the Ishvara. Where is Ishvara? Where is Ishvara? You are mad actually. Ishvara is a non-existent and you are trying to prove that Ishvara is existent. And therefore you are mad. And we are not mad. We say Brahman does not exist. Ishvara does not exist. Okay, sir. He is very cool, after getting such an adjective, mad guy, mad chap, mad fellow, he is still very calm, because he is aware of a equation, a fact, and that the Brahman is nothing but oneself, right? Brahman is consciousness. Try to negate, you are not conscious. Please try. If you are able to negate that I am not conscious, you automatically is entered into a mental hospital. Okay, so you are telling me a mad chap, but you are a double mad chap, because you try to prove that you are not a conscious entity. That's all. Even the very doubt itself, even start thinking that I am not a conscious entity, you require to be a conscious person. A thinking takes place in a conscious being. A pen does not think. Pen does not have such a thought that whether I am conscious or not. A very thought is there in a conscious being. Okay? And therefore, if you say that I am not a conscious being, well, then you are mad. And we say, if you say you are a conscious being, you are Brahman. Now prove. Try to disprove that. Please try to disprove. You are saying Brahman does not exist is equivalent to saying you are non-existent. And if you say, yes, I will tell I am non-existent, you are the hero of all the mad people. You are hero of all the mad people. In fact, you should be made leader in that hospital to lead all these mads. Okay? So Shrutihi asatvavadinaha badham. It's an amazing thing. He is actually entering into a one particular segment of a Brahmanand Valley, which I will tell you. He is making the whole background now to enter into that segment, that portion. Shrutihi asatvavadinaha badham brute. Badham is a negation. Asatvavadinaha. Sattvam means well or satyam. Asatvam means shunya. So asatvavadinaha means negation of asatvavadinaha badham. So negation of the shunyavadi, Shruti itself, brute, tells. Where does the Shruti negates this shunyavadi? That's where we are entering now. So verse 25. Asat brahmeti ched veda swayameva bhaved asat atosya ma bhut vedyatvam sasatvam tabhyupeyatam. You must have heard this portion, I am sure. Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmanand Valley 6th Anuvaka. After Panchakosha Vichara, tasya priyame vashirah modo dakshinah pakshah pramoda uttarah pakshah ananda atma brahma puchcham pratishtha, etc. etc. And then asanneva sabhavati asad brahmeti chet ved asti brahmeti ved chet asad brahmeti chet veda chet asti brahmeti ched veda santamenam tato viduriti, etc. etc. That portion now Vidyaranya is taking for discussion. I hope I should give you such idea of the flow of the things. In Brahman we said the 4 features of Brahman are under discussion in this chapter. The first feature is that Panchakosha Vilakshanatva. Brahman is distinct from Panchakoshas. That is, and the whole chapter is based on Brahmanand Valli. And therefore in Brahmanand Valli, the same thing should have been discussed. And it is discussed. And that you know very well, Anyontara Atma, etc. That portion. Anyontara Atma Pranamaya, Anyontara Atma Manomaya, Anyontara Atma Vijnanamaya, Anyontara Atma Anandamaya, Anyaha Antaraha Atma Pranamaya. So first he discusses Annamaya. And then he says, well, Annamaya is not Atma. Earlier it was told Annamaya is a Purushaha, means Atma. And then it says, no, it is not Atma. Why? Anyaha, Antaraha, which is within this body, within this Annamaya, there is a distinct from the Annamaya, there is a Pranamaya, that is Atma. Then it says, no, Pranamaya is not Atma. There is a distinct Atma, and then which is inside within this Pranamaya, that is Manomaya. So this Panchakosha Vilakshanatvam, ultimately it comes to Brahma Puchcham Pratishtha. So Brahman, which is distinct from these 5 koshas, is one of the topic. It is there in Brahmanand Valli as well as discussed here also. Then second topic, Panchakosha Guha Nihitatvam, right? That's also we discussed, verse number 11 and 12. First topic, verse number 2nd and 10. Anyway, I will discuss whole thing when I discuss summary. So, verse 2nd to 10, first topic, Panchakosha Vilakshanatvam. Then second topic is what? This Panchakosha Guha Nihitatvam, verse number 11 and 12. And there it has been told that that Brahman, which is distinct from these Panchakoshas, is basically a Sakshi, witness, and resides within these Panchakoshas. So that all we have discussed in verse 11 and 12. And right now, current topic is verse number 13 to 27. And that Brahman which is distinct from the Panchakoshas, which is a witness, which resides within Panchakoshas, is none other than that Sakshi is myself. So that Brahman is the Atma, that is the third topic, which is under the current discussion. And that is also, but where in Brahmananda Valli, where is it is told that Brahman is Atma? Very first statement, sir. Yoveda nihitam guhayam parame, I'm sorry, that's the second topic. Third topic, Brahman is Atma, is tasmadva etasmad atmanaha akasha sambhutaha tasmad brahmanaha etasmad atmanaha. That Brahman which is Atma, from that the Akasha is born, therefore Brahman is equated with Atma. That statement is also there. But Swamiji, Panchakosha Guha Nihitatvam, well, that is there. These Panchakoshas are, Brahman is reside within this cave called Panchakoshas, etc. Well, where is it? Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman, that is also there. Brahman is there within Guha called Buddhi. Of course, Bhashyakara has discussed that Guha is a Buddhi. Here Vidyaranya takes all the Panchakoshas as a Guha or the cave, etc. But it is the same thing. But based on Brahmananda Valli, he is discussing. And now he is taking that portion of the Brahmananda Valli for a discussion. Of course, that is within the third topic, that Brahman is Atma. And what is that portion? I have told you, Asanneva Sabhavati, Asad Brahmeti Veda Chet, Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda Santamenam Tato Viduriti. And he is paraphrasing also. Asad Brahmeti Chedaved, I'm sorry. Suppose a person says this, well, Asat Brahman is non-existent, Brahma Asat iti Veda Chet. Well, somebody knows and tells that Brahman is Asat, Brahman is non-existent. Well, it amounts to saying what? Asanneva sabhavati, Asat eva bhavati. One who says that Brahman is non-existent, he amounts to saying, I am non-existent. Because here it says, well, Asat eva bhavati, saha bhavati, saha asat bhavati. That person becomes non-existent. Who becomes non-existent? Well, ultimately this person who says Brahman is non-existent. Okay, so Brahman happens to be the self, and therefore Brahman, negation of Brahman is amount to self-negation. And self-negation is a contradictory thing, sir. And that, well, I don't exist. Self-negation. I don't exist. That's a contradictory statement. It's a madness. And therefore, well, if you say I am existent, then it amounts to saying Ishvara also exists anyway. So that is how we are not bothered. Vedantis do not. Some people become restless. If some Nastika comes and says that, well, I'm ready to prove that there is no Ishvara, etc., etc., then we run away. Because whatever a little Shraddha also is there in existence of Ishvara, etc., we feel that it will go away. And therefore we don't want to argue. Well, okay, whatever you want to believe, you believe. No problem. Anyway, because there are, varieties of the people, and so you want to believe that Ishvara is not there, okay, no problem. don't do like that. Because that if he creates a doubt in you about Ishvara, I tell you it is very difficult to resolve. But only Vedantis are the people who definitely have, yes, they are relaxed people. Because they know that Brahman is nowhere else. Brahman is the very witness of this Panchakoshas. And witness can never be there or there. Sakshi can never be an object. Sakshi means the witness is always a subject. And therefore, definitely, you can never objectify Sakshi. Try to objectify Sakshi and then come to me. Do an email to me after objectifying Sakshi. One who objectifies everything is a Sakshi, sir. And therefore, that Sakshi is the subject, which is never available for objectification. Which you can never put under the category of objects. And because of which you are able to objectify everything. That is Sakshi. And including Ahankara. Everything is, Sakshi of everything. Witness of even the ego. Or witness of a thought. Everything. That witness and in that Sakshi also has to be consciousness. And therefore, well, I am a conscious being and therefore I alone ultimately is a Sakshi of all these Panchakoshas. I mean, it's very simple, very clear actually. Anyway, and that Sakshi is Brahman. Wow, that Sakshi is Brahman. And therefore, well, if I negate myself that I do not exist at all, well, it's amount to saying Brahman does not exist. Or if you say Brahman does not exist, it amounts to saying that I do not exist. And so Swayameva Asat Bhavet, Vidyaranya says, it is as good as negating oneself. So may you give up the Shunyavada. Well, to prove Shunyavada means what? Everything is Shunyam. Correct. Everything is Shunyam. Except you. Who says everything is Shunyam. Okay? So Sakshi Chaitanya is myself. So you cannot say Shunyam. Shunyavada is totally wrong. In Shunyavada, you have to say I am also Shunyam. Yeah, that is Shunyavada. Shunyavada means Atma is Shunyam. Atma is Shunyam, that is Shunyavada. Don't think everything is Shunyam. That we are also saying everything is Shunyam. Means Mithya. Well, ultimately, but they say Atma is Shunyam. That is one of the branch of the Buddhist. Other one says it is Kshanikam, momentary. Atma is momentary consciousness. Well, right now we don't want to discuss that. But this one, Shunyavada. Anyway, so Sakshi Chaitanya is myself actually. And about this Sakshi, uniqueness is it cannot be objectified. So, like you cannot see your original eye. I have to use word original. Because you will be able to see the reflection of your eyes. Everyone says that you have a very beautiful eyes. That's how I think, what is your name? So then she says, well, my name is Meenakshi. Oh, very beautiful. Meenakshi. So Akshi. So your Akshis are like a Meena. Means that like a the fish. Very beautiful eyes you have. But everyone says you are a Meenakshi. But I am not able to see my Meenakshi. My eyes, which are so beautiful, I am not able to see. You can't objectify your own eyes. That's how it is. You objectify even Sakshi. You remember? Do you remember? I am telling you. I am asking you. We discuss, right? Then all the koshas are negated. Anyantaratma, 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 Anyantaratma. And after all the koshas are negated, removed. And he wants to see inside. Where is that Sakshi? So he is telling. So he wants to objectify even that Sakshi. It is never available, sir. Anyway, so it's a fact with the eyes that you are not able to see your own eyes. With respect to Paramatma also, with respect to Brahman also, this is the truth. What? Avedyatvam. Avedyatvam means that you cannot objectify it. So once you cannot objectify anything, you really just slip into another conclusion. What I cannot objectify does not exist. What I cannot objectify does not exist. Please stop. With respect to Sakshi, the first sentence is right. The second sentence is not right. With respect to other than Sakshi, Panchakoshas or whatever in the creation, both the things are right. Whatever is what I cannot objectify under any condition, at any time, at any place, or under any condition, that is non-existent, is true. With respect to everything other than Sakshi, this is true. What is Avedyam? Well, definitely is Asatvam. That is true. But with respect to this Sakshi, it is not true. Therefore, like rabbit's horn, etc., you can never objectify by any person at any time, at any place, and any time is any time. Not in the present, not in the future, we were not able to even objectify in the past also. Well, such a thing is non-existent, it is true. But Atma Vishaya, with respect to this Sakshi, it is imperceptible, it is unobjectifiable, and therefore that also is non-existent. And therefore let me say I don't exist. Well, that is not correct. Why? Because Atma is of the nature of Aprameya. Aprameya Swaprakasha Manovacha Gochara. and even Bhagavan also told in Bhagavad Gita, Anashino aprameyasya, Anashinaha aprameyasya, etc. etc. Okay, second line says what in this verse? Ataha, therefore, asya vedyatvam ma bhut, asya atmanah, sakshinah. Then of the sakshi, this Brahmatma is avedyatvam. Vedyatvam ma bhut means avedyatvam. Brahmatma is not objectifiable, is a fact. But swaswarupatvam tu abhyupeyatam swasatvam. But never conclude that it is non-existent. You have to accept that you exist. You, the Sakshi, who is able to negate everything, well, exist. Even though that Sakshi is not able to, we are not able to objectify because it is the very nature of oneself, it is the very subject. Subject is a one which is never available for objectification. That's a definition. And therefore that Sakshi, which is the very nature of oneself, well, you are not able to objectify. But don't conclude further that it is non-existent. You are the one who negate everything. What is negatable you have negated, what is mithya you have negated, and you are the one who is unnegatable residue, who is always there. Verse number 26. Kidruk tarhi iti chet pruched idrukta nasti tatrahi yadani drukta drukcha tatsvarupam vinishchinu. Now this is a very uncomfortable situation, Swamiji. You know, everybody says you have beautiful eyes, but I am not able to see my own eyes. I will die without seeing my own eyes. So it's really unfortunate situation, Swamiji. Okay, so I am unobjectifiable witness consciousness, but I would want to know how do I look like? You know, how do I look like? This Sakshi, I would like to see how do I look like. I have tremendous curiosity. You know, where people have a curiosity when they put on a new dress, and then they have a tremendous curiosity that how do I look like. So they go again and again to the mirror, and they see and enjoy a little that I look good. But still you are not satisfied. You know very well. You will have to ask some conscious entity, right? Because mirror is a basically inert thing. It cannot it cannot criticize you. Even if you look so ugly after wearing this thing, but it cannot tell you, it cannot criticize. And then you know for sure, even though you go near to the mirror often after wearing a new dress, but still you are not satisfied. You will have to ask to your wife or children or a friend or somebody, how do I look like? And they are also not, they can criticize you, but they also do not have the courage to criticize. So they say, oh, you look so awesome, you know. I remember these 3 words, or I don't know, they do not go from me. You look awesome, you look wonderful, you look amazing, not amazing or something. That is in Indian English, amazing. It's amazing. Oh, anyway, so you look nice, etc. So basically, naturally, you sang, Swamiji, you sang a glory of this Sakshi, which is all pervading, and which is the truth of the entire creation, which is Brahman, and therefore I and the Paramatma are basically essentially one entity. And you sang so much glory, you have made the whole one stotra on that. But then definitely I have a curiosity to see this Sakshi, for which you have sung so much of glory. I would like to see that Sakshi. So, whether Sakshi, well, if you don't see anything and you are just smiling, I would like to say whether this Sakshi looks like this or Sakshi looks like this. Please tell me. Looks like what? So that is being asked here. Idruk, kidruk tarhi, kidruk. See, this is made from the word kim plus drish. Drish means here like. Kim means what? Kidruk tarhi means Sakshi is like what? That's the question. So tarhi means you since you say, well, everything, this Sakshi is not negatable and this and that, and Sakshi is Brahman, etc., etc., and it's the essence of everything, and it is Asangam and this. Well, very beautiful. Tarhi means okay. Then kidruk, how do this Sakshi look like? How do I look like? Naturally, because I am the Sakshi. So how do I look like? Well, kidruk tarhi iti chet pruchet, if you ask so, idrukta nasti tatra hi, see idruk. Idruk means idam plus drish. Drish means like. Idam means this. So, idruk means like this. Tadruk is formed from tat plus drish. Tad means that and drish means like. So, tadruk means like that. Means that person is asking like this. We have to assume. Kidruk tarhi, this Sakshi or I looks like what? Looks like this, idruk, or tadruk looks like that. That's what his question is. And chet, iti chet, if you ask me like this, Vidyaranya says, idrukta nasti tatra hi. Tatra. Well, tatra means sakshinaha vishay. With respect to this Sakshi, idrukta nasti, idrukta, they have said. Idruk, they have made an abstract noun. Idrukta. Idruk means like that. Idrukta means a status of being like this. Idruk means like this, I'm sorry. And idrukta means a status of being like this. That's abstract noun they have made. So, Sakshi does not have a status of pointing out like this also. So, Sakshi is not like this. And tadrukta, we have to supply that, this thing also. We have to add tadrukta nahi. It is not like even that. Means what, you know? Sakshi is not like this means what? Sakshi is not a pratyaksha vishaya. This means what? Which is pratyaksha vishaya. And tadruk, like that, means paroksha vishaya. So Sakshi is not like a pratyaksha vishaya. Sakshi is not a pratyaksha. Sakshi is not a paroksha. It is like what? Yad anidruk atadruk. It is pratyaksha paroksha vilakshana. Well, it is not like this, means it is not a pratyaksha vishaya. It is not like that, means it is not a paroksha vishaya. We have seen this pratyaksha and paroksha. Aksham prati iti pratyaksham. Aksham prati, which is available to the sense organs, which is an object of the sense organs, is pratyaksha. Which can be objectified by the sense organ is pratyaksha. And akshanaha param, a paroksham, which is beyond sense organs, right, is called paroksham, which we generally refer as a that. Like what is right now in our ashram in Ahmedabad, suppose, is I have to say it is paroksham because it is not available for sense organs to contact right now for all of us. So same way, and what is like me is available for you as a pratyaksha because your eyes are able to contact me. So anyway, so then you will say this Swami, and for ashram you will use ashram in Ahmedabad. What will you use? That ashram, right? So this is how it is. So pratyaksha vishaya idruk, paroksha vishaya tadruk. So it is not like that. It is not like this, etc. It is not a pratyaksha vishaya, it is not a paroksha vishaya. Okay, we'll have to stop here and we'll see that tomorrow. Some more things are there in leftover. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.